Hello everyone, you're welcome to Innocenta's Kitchen, where we make simple but delicious homemade recipes. Today we've got a special meal on the menu, and guess what that menu is? It is vegetable soup, otherwise known as Efo Riro in Western Nigeria. With all the ingredients and accessories in this soup, it has such a rich resume that makes it so delicious that you're gonna love it. Today's ingredients include assorted meats, which includes goat's meat, fresh turkey, cow tripe, otherwise known as shaki, boneless cow foot, and cow rib, otherwise known as abodi. And to season my meat, I'll be using garlic, ginger, curry powder, thyme, fresh parsley, rosemary, onion, Scotch bonnet, some spring onion, and seasoning cubes to taste. You might want to add salt to taste. I personally don't use salt as a personal preference, and that's why I use loads and loads of herbs and spices in my cooking in order to enhance the taste of my food. And for my sauce, I'm going to be using some tomato, onions, bell pepper or long peppers, whichever you have. I just used long pepper as a personal preference, and some Scotch bonnet. And you might want to vary this, especially the Scotch bonnet, to the quantity you can tolerate. Next, I have my fermented locust beans, also known as iru or dawadawa or ogiri. It is a traditional condiment commonly used in West Africa to make soups and stews. Next, I have my bonga fish, made into fillets with the bones taken out. I have my dried prawns. You can also use crayfish if you have some, smoked catfish, and some palm oil. Next is the main ingredient for this soup, which is kale, a highly nutritious vegetable packed with lots of vitamins. Feel free to use any other type of vegetable such as spinach or greens. Now, moving on to the business of the day, I have separated my meat into two lots of like items. The shaki and the cow foot are together, and the other meat are together. And I have two lots of the ingredients displayed that I'm going to use to cook the two batches of meat individually. I blend my onion, garlic, scotch bonnet, and rosemary all together in a blender. Already I've added my curry, thyme, and seasoning. Next I add my blend, chopped parsley and the spring onions, followed by the ginger grated in. I add about half a cup of water and allow the meat to cook until the shaki is soft enough. Then I'll pick them out and allow the cow foot to cook until it is tender. In another pot I have my goat's meat and my turkey with seasoning added, and I'm just going to add my abodima, that's the cow rib, on top, because I'm going to pick them out halfway through once they are cooked enough, because I don't want them too soft. Next is chopped onion, rosemary, curry and thyme, and spring onion. Next I slice in my scotch bonnet. I always like to boil my meat with scotch bonnet as it gives it that aroma and spicy flavor that awakens the taste buds. I press in my garlic followed by my grated ginger. When I add a bit of water, I've said about half a cup. I allow to cook until their body is tender. I pick them out, then I allow the rest of the meat to continue cooking until tender. For my sauce, I combine my tomato, onion, and peppers in my blender, and using the pulse setting a few times, I chop my tomato into smaller bits. You can use processor or a chopper or a mortar and pestle, whatever you've got, just to bring the tomato into chopped bits. You don't want it really smooth. I then parboil my blend to dryness to get rid of the excess water. My turkey is tender now and ready to be removed, so the goat meat can continue cooking until it is tender. And next, once everything is cooked, I'm going to oven dry them just to get rid of that excess moisture and gives it that nice taste in the vegetable. If you prefer, you can fry them instead, but I only do this to the goat's meat and turkey and not the other meat. Next, I heat up my oil slightly and fry some chopped bits of goat meat and turkey, which I have taken out before roasting the others. I like to fry this bit because I like that having that fried taste, which is really yummy. I just fry slightly, not too dry. Next, I bring in my onion, my chopped onion. The parboiled tomato goes in as well and is allowed to fry. Occasionally stir to avoid it burning. While my tomato is frying, I start prepping my dried prawn by removing the heads, the tails, and the legs, just because they're very spiky. And I'm going to blend this bits with the Bonga fish fillets. While the main body, I am going to just use my hand to crush them into smaller bits. And this is the blend of the spiky bits of the dried prawn and the Bonga fish. For those of you that know Bonga fish, I'm sure you will agree with me that it adds a very delicious flavor to any food. It gives it that Bonga fishy effect, you know. I'm going to add this mix and the prawns into my frying sauce, as well as the filleted catfish with all the bones removed and clean, and I keep stirring. At this point, I soak my locust beans in hot water just to dissolve it as it comes fairly dried in order to preserve it. So my locust beans is dissolved now. I'm just going to pour this into my sauce and allow it to fry a bit. And guess what? I get my locust beans directly from the village, straight from source. It is so fresh and it smells so nice. Next, I add the water from my meat. That's my turkey and goat meat, otherwise known as stock or broth. I'm going to pour my stock in because kale is one type of vegetable that absorbs moisture in the soup. So I use stock for my kale. And now I've added my meat. I'm going to stir and allow the meat to absorb the stock. Next, I'm going to treat my vegetable. I sprinkle some salt, and pour in some cold water and scrub gently just to get rid of any physical debts in the vegetable, as vegetables can come really dirty sometimes. Now I'm going to be adding hot water. This process is known as blanching, where you just pour hot water in vegetables and quickly get them into cold water. It helps to optimize the nutritional value of the vegetables. It also helps maintain the green color without turning black. But be careful, you don't want to leave your vegetables in hot water for too long so that you can still retain the nutritional value. You need to be super quick with this process, especially with vegetables such as spinach, because you don't want them to overcook during the blanching process. So you want to introduce them to cold water as soon as possible without losing the flavor and overcooking them. Now I get my kale out of the water by gently squeezing them just to get rid of the excess water. You can see now my vegetable is looking really nice and green, and it's still quite very crunchy, because kale has that texture that would remain crunchy so long as you don't leave your vegetable in hot water for too long. Next, I introduce my chopped fried meat. I use them to accessorize my vegetable, and I've introduced my chopped abodi and cow foot, as well as shaki. Those ones I did not fry, but I've introduced everything. I transfer my kale into a bigger pot where I can stir easily. Then I introduce my sauce to the kale and I keep stirring. By now, your neighbors will almost be knocking at your door to say, "What is cooking?" It is smelling so delicious, so yummy. I add more stock because my soup looks a bit dry, but it is all come together now. Isn't this luscious? So mouth-watering. with every mouthful is scrumptiously rewarding experience. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have learnt one or two things from it and you have enjoyed watching. Please do leave a comment below at the bottom of this video and give a thumbs up if you like it. Share with friends and family and hit the subscribe button at the bottom right hand corner of the video. Until I see you in my next video, look after yourselves. Bye.